financial life. For those of you that are new to my channel, thank you so much for hitting the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. You may not know that I was broke at 40. I'm 58 years old today. It took me about 15 years to get to $1 million net worth. I like to teach people, whether they're younger or older, how they can do great with money over time and how to focus on a more tried and true path to wealth rather than thinking and believing that something magical will happen, rather than thinking about the magic that can happen. I like to teach people that you can make it happen. And it's interesting that on my channel so far, some of you have commented about my hat. This is a charter hat, and I was looking at it this morning, and inside there's a label that says, whether you are following your dreams, your sense of adventure, or your curiosity, following your head can lead to amazing places in the right hat. So I started thinking about a financial hat, that if you follow your financial dreams and you follow your financial sense of adventure or financial curiosity, you can also go to amazing financial places. This hat on this channel also protects my identity because I want you guys to come back for the next 2 episodes where I'm going to be sharing with you real numbers. I'm going to be sharing with you how to map your money, and I'm going to be using myself as an example with my real 2024 budget to share with you how you can map your financial year by looking at certain categories and then determining what your financial savings rate actually is. Or if you haven't started saving yet, this will be an opportunity for you to figure out how you can do that. So I hope you come back for the next episode tomorrow. Also on Sunday, I'm going to drop an episode on where my money lives within 4 areas. The vehicles in which I've placed my money through the years. And I'm going to give you real balances that make up my net worth today. Which leads me to the content of today's episode, and to wrap up the week in 2007, because as you guys know, I've been taking you through a journey over the past many years. And next week, of course, we're starting with 2008. Or I should say, continuing on with 2008. But to wrap up 2007, I have to say, as I mentioned in the last couple of episodes this week, it was really the time in my life that I started to believe in automation, and I started to believe in myself. I gave myself lofty goals. I wanted to dream about the possibility of getting to $1 million net worth in about 15 years. I remember thinking, Evan, is that possible? being a late in life saver like I was 40 years old. I was 41 in 2007, and I was still broke. So in a few minutes I'll be sharing with you what my net worth was in 2007. But first, let's chat a little bit about what net worth is. Because I remember back in 2007, I was clueless. I had no idea what net worth was. So, assets are things like your checking account, your savings account, your retirement savings, maybe your real estate, and maybe the cars that you own. And you also have liabilities, things like consumer debt, personal loans, student loans, mortgages, auto loans, and other debt. So if you take your assets and you subtract your liabilities, of course, you get to your net worth. You take the larger of those two integers. It could be a positive net worth, which is what you would want to go towards. Or sadly, it could be a negative net worth. Now in 2007, again, I was 41 years old. But before I go to my 2007, I did want to share with you an example of perhaps what some people may have as a net worth. Let's take an example. Let's say your home value is $450,000. Let's say you have a car and it's worth $50,000. And let's say you have $50,000 in your 401k. On the asset side of your equation, this person would have $550,000 of assets, which is really good. However, if we add up this person's liabilities, let's see what happens. Maybe they owe $300,000 on their loan for their house. Maybe this person has $100,000 of student loans. Maybe they have $50,000 in credit card debt. Maybe they owe $50,000 on their car loan. And maybe they have $50,000 of other debt. So their liabilities are $550,000. The assets are $550,000. So what is this person's net worth? You guessed it. A big fat zero. Which for many people is where they live in terms of their net worth. You can't possibly grow wealth if you have a zero net worth. And sadly, some people, myself included, many years ago, have a negative net worth. So in 2007, for me, again, I was 41 years old. This condo that you're looking at went all the way up to $160,000. I had a car, a Mazda Miata, valued at about $10,000. 401k balance was about $40,000 in 2007, which means my asset side was $210,000. However, I needed to subtract $97,000 because I owed $97,000 on this condo. So my net worth was $113,000 before the Great Recession, which we will be talking about next week. However, let's just pause for a moment. When you think about my net worth in 2007, what was the largest asset in that equation? It was the home value. Home values can go up, home values can go down, but so can stock market valuations. That is very true. But for me, back in 2007, I wanted to switch that so that my asset side, in terms of mutual funds in the stock market, would eventually outweigh the asset side of my real estate. Now, that was just me. People can build wealth in many different ways. But in 2007, that net worth of $113,000 was frothy because I think I mentioned to you I live in Florida, and you may recall from the recession, again, which I'll talk about next week, real estate went down quite a bit. So my net worth really plummeted to a negative number through the recession. It is what it is. But I remember thinking, even in 2007, before the recession, that I again wanted to make sure that my net worth was more heavily weighted on the asset side in mutual funds within the stock market through my 401k, my taxable account, my Roth IRA. That was just my thought process in 2007 when I really again started to dream big. Now, the last thing I'd like to share on today's episode is that in 2007 I also began to think about compound interest. And even though I was a late in life saver, I started to think about the future of my money. And I want you guys to think about the future of your money as well. If you go to dinkytown.net and you click on Compound Savings Calculator, you can run some numbers and think about the future of your money. So in 2007, I had about $40,000. So I wanted to know, I said to myself, Evan, how long would it take you to get to $1 million? Just a simple calculation. I was curious. If the stock market I knew would return roughly 10% through the years, which, by the way, that turned out to be very true for my investing in subsequent years. I think I averaged about 9% because my asset allocation was always a little bit different through the years, but it came to about 9%. But in 2007, by running the calculators, I realized that I would need to save approximately $25,000 per year to get to $1 million in 15 years. Now, of course, I also knew that I couldn't possibly do $25,000 per year, that it would be a gradual averages about $25,000 a year. So more on that in the episodes that are coming up, but to leave you today and to wrap up 2007 in terms of my thought process, I remember I had the belief that I could become anything that I wanted, that if I wanted to become a millionaire, I could, if I continued to increase my income every year, and if I continued to keep my expenses low, that you will see in the next episode, then maybe I could create my own financial destiny. So that's what I had for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to my channel as well. I'll see you next time, right here